Today on the mental health conversation, I remember talking to Mr. Glenn Marvin, and he mentioned a good guy, a Kiwi guy who's now based in Australia. We won't hold that against him. And he talked about a guy called Greg Gillies. And Greg is a life coach with a particular emphasis on men's health. And he joins me now. And g'day, Greg. How you going?
Very well, John. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. How is your mental health today?
It was pretty good. Worked with a few clients, did my morning routine. Trying to look after myself. Always.
Excellent, excellent. So for those those people who don't know Greg Gillies, can maybe tell us 5 things about you that we don't know?
Country New Zealand boy growing up in a little country town in Otago called Tapanui. Went to King's High boarding school for my senior years. Lived in Aussie since 2007. Married with 3 kids and digital media background, but now in life coaching. So that's pretty much sums me up.
Got it. You've got a really interesting story. If we go to you, I went to your website and I was quite touched, moved, and inspired by your story. We won't ask you to reveal that story, but how has it led to you with that passionate driving force doing what you do now?
Yeah, sure. So I had absolutely no intentions of being a life coach. At the time, I wasn't even dealing with my own shit. So I've always been a very, very driven, success-orientated, have-it-all kind of guy, and I've had my fair share of success in my life. But it seemed like as the years went on, and when I hit 39 years old, so 3 years ago, it all come crushing down on me. And I was just like, hang on, I've achieved everything that I wanted in life. I've got the money, got the house, had the travel, got the wife, got the kids, got the cars, blah, 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 blah. But I was broken. I was miserable. I was unhappy and I was unfulfilled and I was confused because I'd done everything that I thought I needed to do to create success and happiness, and I was bloody miserable. But I thought there was something wrong with me, so I didn't even talk about it. So what I used to do is just drink more booze and just push it down and suppress it and try to ignore it with alcohol until it broke me. And I had to just wake up and take a different path, which has led me to where I am now.
And what is it that you love to do the most? When you talk about life coaching, it's quite broad. Do you have a particular niche area within that segment that you try and focus on?
100%. So I'm a marketing specialist as well. So I've laser focused in predominantly on businessmen, married businessmen, and guys that are the same as me. Guys that have got the pressures of business, home, wife, children. They're trying to be a good role model. They're trying to keep fit and healthy, and they're trying to do it all. But all they get is the stress and the pressures and the demands, and then you start to self-doubt yourself, and then you typically self-sabotage, whether it's over drinking or negative self-talk or bad eating. And mate, so many people that I talk to, most business men, especially small business owners, they all feel the same, right? They've just got all these pressures and demands. I feel like the weight of the world's on their shoulders, and they feel trapped. But they don't know what it is, and they don't voice it, or they don't open up, or they don't share their vulnerability because we're bloody competitive and we don't want to, right? It's like a weakness. So we just shut up and just drink it down and get on with it.
What's that magic bullet? What's that first conversation that you love having with men who have some challenges, etc., in their life? And hell, we've all got friggin' challenges in our life. What's that first conversation like? Talk me through what that looks like for you and a client.
The first conversation is typically when they don't even talk to me until they're ready, right? They know that they want help. They know that they want to change. They know that they can't create the ultimate life that they want on their own because they've been trying for years and it just seems to be getting harder and harder and more stress and more pressure. So the first conversation is they just open up and they relate to me and just go, well, you're like me. Like I was a rugby head played rugby for age grade New Zealand, drunk the beers. So I'm a bloke, I'm a man's man. And I open up and I tell my story of all the shit that I did in my past and how I had to deal with it. And it gives them permission to just go, finally, I can talk to somebody who can understand me. And they just give it to me. And everything that they unload is typically what most men are holding on to and what I held on to. And then I just enable them to understand that the same process that I went through to completely transform my life is what I can now help them go through if they're ready. And that's the first conversation. And for them to even have the conversation and to just go blur and tell me how they feel, it's a relief in its own before we even start working together. And they're just like, oh my God, finally I can just admit how I'm feeling because it's driving me nuts. And most blokes are like that, right? They just don't know who to talk to.
Yeah, look, the hashtag that I've been carrying over these mental health interviews is "Let's talk about it." Yeah. And you're in a great position to kind of say what percentage of men actually are just not talking about it, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so that's I think the way our brains are programmed. We have these deep underlying fears and scarcity and unworthiness and not good enough and all of these beliefs that we picked up through childhood. So that stops us from talking about it and being vulnerable because we've got fear of being judged or compared, or we think that it's just us and we don't think anybody, you don't see other people struggling when you're constantly only dealing with your own shit. So yeah, so that's pretty much it.
How much of it manifests in, say, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual? If we look at that, cross section of our makeup, where does it sit? Where does that not talking about whatever it is? Where does it manifest itself?
Everywhere. So we are, whether you believe it or not, we are multidimensional beings. So we are mind, body, and spirit, and they are all part of us. And we have energy at different dimensions. So in our body, in our mind, and in our spirits. But our program focuses on clearing the mind and the body because there's two coaches in our program. I work on the mind, and my wife works on the body using advanced kinesiology and energy healing and stuff. So what people don't understand, and what I encourage everybody to research, is the latest neuroscience and biochemistry research that's out, that a lot of people, it's now available, that proves that the mind and body is so interlinked and so connected that it is one. When you're stressed or when you're anxiety or when you're really, really overwhelmed in your head, it actually activates the sympathetic nervous system and our autonomic nervous system, which puts our body into deep survival stress. And when our body's in deep survival stress, our glands and organs and our hormones get all screwed up and they can't heal and they can't regenerate. And then we have an overflux of cortisol, and then we get inflammation and we carry weight, and we're eating clean and we're exercising, but we're carrying all this weight and we're like, what the fuck is going on? Sorry, swearing on your podcast.
No, that's fine. I fucking swear too. That's fine. It's it's a fucking pain in the ass when I can't understand exactly what you're saying, but it sounds like it's all gone to shit.
Pretty much. And when your mind is in constant stress and you're just in your head and it's just going round and round and round and round and there's no release, and then your body's under stress and it's not functioning properly, it starts getting in this negative pattern, and we just slowly slip and slip and slip. And I believe this is the major reason why anxiety, depression, and even men with suicidal thoughts is going through the roof. Is because it's just getting too much, and the demands and the pressures and the toxins and the false endorphin hits that we get from this, the world we live in now is just getting too much for us to handle. And if we don't get the right help to clear away all of that sort of stuff, we start to spiral out of control till we get to breaking point. And I got to breaking point, and it was scary, man. It was bloody horrible. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it gave me the massive wake-up call that I needed to stop all the stupid shit, stop pushing myself to breaking point, and go and deal with why I felt that way. And, man, since then, holy shit, my life's changed. Like, beyond
Good.
what I could ever comprehend.